Today we are going to be answering and explaining a very basic question. How on earth do you build dams in this game? And if I'm being honest, what better map for building dams than waterfalls, right? Now, as soon as you have the basics taken care of in your colony, what you need to do is work on your first dam because, well, the droughts are gonna come sooner or later and you want to be prepared. In the early game, you don't really have access to medium and large water bottles for yourself, so the best way to keep water stored is just as water in your river. For that, you need to build a dam, and you need a damn good place to do that, because dams are pretty expensive, a whopping 20 logs each. By the way, random tip, up here you can see your working hours. It is pretty safe to just increase them up to 18 during the early game. Now, there are obviously multiple ways for you to place a dam, but first of all, we need to talk about what the dam actually is. During the early game, most of your dams are going to be built with, the actual building that's called a dam and the levees. It does take plenty of science to actually unlock the levees, but for the first few cycles, the dam is more than enough for your needs. The dam is a single block building over here, which you can build on top of, or you can even just build paths on top if you wish to. Once built, the dam blocks water from going inside, and this is evident from the way it looks. The height that it blocks at is 0.65. So a single block is 1 high, the dam will block 65% of the way through. While this does mean that water cannot really, travel backwards, it also means that the water from the outside world will not be able to go inside the dam unless the water level rises, which is something we need to do over here in order to use this place as an irrigation system. Now, the water level in this river is not going to go further up because it's all flowing downwards over here. However, we can place a row of dams in the path as well, which will start trapping more water upstream. This will also let us cross over to the other side of the river as well. As this dam gets built and the river narrows, you will see that the river is getting deeper upstream, which has also made it so that water can seep back inside our reservoir over here. Your goal in Timberborn, for the most part, at least at the start of the game, is to build up your first dam before your first drought. But you see, droughts are not the only problem in Timberborn. You also have to deal with bad tides. And bad tides are where your actual dam building abilities will be tested out. Because this bad water is bad, however, during a bad tide, this fresh water will also turn bad. So you need to divert it. And that is going to be our next objective right now. If you're playing on normal difficulty, then you're going to get a healthy 4 cycles before your first bad tide. However, if you're playing on hard, then you're only going to be getting 3 cycles. Now, the only way to deal with bad water this early in the game is to either 1. Stockpile enough resources so that your, colony survives the bad tide, or 2. Just send your bad water elsewhere and treat it like any other drought. Now, this dam is going to protect us during a drought. However, when it comes to a bad tide, things are gonna go, bonkers, because we can't afford all of this area becoming contaminated, because that means everything will die, right? So what we need to do is we need to figure out a solution to the bad tide before the water actually gets here. And there is another way to do that. We can do that over here, up here actually, by just sending the bad water off the map. But that's not what we're doing today. We need to build dams today, okay? So here's what we're going to do. We are going to raise this wall over here, and then we're also going to create another wall for the water on this side. For the time being, I'm going to keep a hole over here so that my beavers can go and work everything, because we are also going to basically create a wall over here. Sounds good? Sounds good. And then on top of that, we are going to create a dam, just like that. Now, as this channel gets narrower, problems are going to arise and some water is going to leak backwards over there. But we're gonna fix that, don't worry about it. If you're playing on hard mode, then the water is pretty precious, so you should probably prioritize the ones back here first. Now, the first row over here is done. The water level back here is basically, higher than the one over here. But now we need a system that lets us send bad water down there. And hopefully a system that we can control. So let's just work on that. Let's think about it, okay? We're gonna basically close this up as well. I do want to do this further away from these trees so that if there is flooding, then it's, not next to the trees. So let's create this second row over here. And what's going to happen is all of the water that's flowing over here is going to flow through these 4 channels instead. That's a drought, but worry not, because, we have built up our dams, so the water is going to stay here. And we're going to continue harvesting our trees as they continue growing up. Alright, that should be it, but now we need just one final piece of the puzzle, which is the floodgate. We're going to place those over here. And for the time being, we're going to set their height all the way down to 0. There we go, that's another session of pine tree harvesting, and that means we're also going to get our floodgates ready and done. Absolutely wonderful. If I'm being honest, I love the way these look for the iron teeth. I'm not a fan of the folk tales at all. I'm never going back. There we go, lovely. Okay, we have a drought incoming, but I want you to assume that that's a bad tide instead. Here's what's gonna happen. You're just going to close these floodgates up, and they just need to be above the 0.65 mark. However, you can just take them all the way up if you so desire. In which case, what's going to happen is that water is going to stop flowing this way, and it's all going to start flowing that way instead. Now, there are going to be some leakages and some slippages, at least until, water actually starts flowing that way. But hey, it gets the job done. And this is also going to protect you from the bad tides, at least until you get sluices. So as soon as you have this setup done, you're safe from bad tides for the time being, except you need yourself some metals so that you can start making sluices over here, these things. And hey, that's going to be my next video. And the next thing that I want to do is I want to create a farm somewhere. Smash that subscribe button, join me next time on Timberborn as we discuss sluices and maybe make that farm video. I don't know, I've got a lot of stuff planned, okay? Bye!